everybody's talking about pubs, for example, which is fair enough. You know, the pubs are struggling, but restaurants. How many restaurants are in this country? How many bookings have they lost? And this time of the year, when the last couple of years we've been struggling anyway, this time of the year when everybody thought we're going to recover a little bit of money that we lost during the year, it suddenly happened again. So whose fault is it? You know, we can't blame the government, really. I'm probably one of the very few that feel sorry for Boris Johnson, because whatever he says is not going to please anyone, or it's not going to please everyone. What can we do? You know, the pandemic is back. We're still in the same. I mean, I've got a in my family now, which is a big shock for us. My brother in Italy is in an intensive care in a coma for the last 10 days. He's been put to sleep, and you know, he woke up yesterday. Hopefully he will recover, but he's not himself. As we this COVID-19 does things to you that God knows. You know how you recover.
Aldo, I mean, that's so honest of you to talk like that. I mean, before we talk about the business side of it, I'm sorry to hear that from a personal point of view. And there are so many people with stories like that. And I mean, I've been talking about this for weeks, but I just believe that what should have been said last year, pal, was not that if you take these 2 vaccines, it'll disappear and everything will be fine. These are 2 vaccines that you should perhaps take. Well, you should take. It'll deal with this variant, but it will mutate, etc., etc. I think people were led to believe that take those initial 2 vaccines, the world would change, everybody would be fine. But of course, it's come back. Mixed messaging is the hardest and most difficult thing. And I'm sorry for your family. I wish your brother well. But looking at your industry, Aldo, a tough 2 years. What does it do for morale? What does it do for staff and owners? Just everybody's morale in the business when you don't know whether anybody's going to turn up, and you don't know actually whether you're going to have a job or a business in the next 6 months anyway.
Well, you know, Jeremy, in the summer, when everything reopened and everybody went back to work, then suddenly we can't find staff. Furlough finished, and people were meant to go back to work. Loads of people went away, went back home, and never did go back to work. So there's been a huge amount of staffing problem as well, on top of everything else. And then now the 3rd jab, or I've had them all, but we're having all these jabs to save the NHS, which is fair enough. But you know, what works, what doesn't, only God knows. I
think that's the problem, and that's where, you know, and I'm going to agree with you a little bit about Boris. He's come under intense criticism, and I think a lot of it is warranted over the last few weeks. But you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Just breaking in quickly, Aldo. Breaking news, my friends. The UK has reported 88,376 coronavirus cases and 146 more deaths in the last 24 hours. That's 88,376. Yesterday it was 76,000, and that was a record. This is undoubtedly, as you say, Aldo, here. It's how we deal with it. My message to people will be get vaccinated. If you get it, it won't kill you. Get on with your lives. That's what I personally think, but everybody will have a different story. You talk about the tumultuous last 16 months, really. Has the government done enough for you as an industry, as a business, or are you one of the rare ones who thinks that they've had their hands tied? Is the industry calling out for more help?
Well, this time round, it's even worse, because the mixed messages, that doesn't mean that they're going to close the restaurants and give this and pay the government paying the staff. So the restaurants have got to fork out for everything this time round, and losing all the business, all the bookings. But people like me personally, I'm a consultant for the restaurant business. The government, when everything's shut, people like me, unfortunately, got left in the lurch a little bit, because I had to rethink myself, you know, and do something with my brand from home, because nobody paid me, because the restaurants shut. People didn't need the consultancy anymore, and so what I created here at Casa Zilli in Surrey was unheard of. I've done takeaways and deliveries for the last 2 years, and now we got these pods in the middle of the garden. You have to reinvent yourself. I'm not a lazy person, so I just get out there and roll my sleeves up. I never complain about anything. I never ask the government for anything. But the hospitality industry will be on its knees for a bit of time yet, I think.
Aldo, we wish you genuinely, personally, and certainly your family, but also the business that you're in generally, the best. And I meant what I said. When this is all over, we're going to bring the gang down. And thank you so much for joining us on Talk today, pal. Love to everybody, all right? Thanks,
Ciao,
mate.
buon Natale, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, my friend. Happy Christmas to you too.